Hello class. In this tutorial I will be showing you how to create your illustrated elements for your adaptive design and make those elements into symbols so that they can be edited. So as you can see here, I have my drawing of my elements and they're placed into Illustrator. I originally drew these in Photoshop. Um, I drew them on top of this pattern here. And I used to include this pattern in the project, but now I've got three new patterns for you guys to choose from, three new designs. And so you want to choose from one of those designs, and what you want to do is draw on top of it somehow, like either if you can print it out and do it on tracing paper, that's one way. But if you can also, bring it into Photoshop and draw on top of it, and what you want to do is we want to take up the same space, the same placement, but with different elements. So as you can see here, we got a crab with a Santa hat on, and I'm replacing that with a cake with a big slice taken out of it. Okay, and for the sandcastle, I have a cupcake, and for the anchor, I actually have a slice of pie. So I have kind of a theme going on here with desserts. Okay. Um, for this life preserver flotation device here, I've got a donut. The stars I'm going to actually put in place of this seashell. I don't know if you can see that. It's very faint because this is a template, but we can actually change that later if we want to. But anyway, that gives you some idea of what you're going to be doing. So first thing is you're going to do the drawing, and then once you get the drawing done, then you're going to take it into Photoshop and Illustrator here, and then you're going to actually draw on top of it. So first, let me go to my layers, and one of the things I hate is how light that green is. I'm going to change this to something else, maybe a dark green, so I can see it a little easier when we're dealing with our paths. And I'm going to use my pencil tool. I'm using my Wacom tablet right now. I was using my Cintiq, but I'm having some technical difficulties with my computer. So I'm just going to draw out this cake portion of the cupcake. Okay. And I'm using my pencil tool, so it just makes it a little quicker. Okay, we can also go back and alter it if we can. There we go. Okay, so that's the cake portion. And I'm going to go in and create, let's see here. I can make this in different orders, but I'm going to actually, let me see here. I'm going to we'll go to outline mode. There we go. Okay. And we might as well go and do the icing part. There we go. Okay. Now this is something, as far as what I'm showing you here, I've shown you how to do this before, but I'm just going over this again, and I think it's good for you guys to see. That dark, that's hard to see. I'm going to try a lavender to see if that pops out there, but maybe. It's a little hard for me to see on this screen here. So anyway, let me go back to preview mode, and we'll change this icing to a kind of a lighter color here. Okay, maybe something like that. We can change it later. Okay, we can, because that's one of the things I want to do is show you how to turn this into a symbol and how to edit a symbol and tell you the reasons why we're doing this, because it makes it so much easier. Okay, let me draw in the paper portion of this cupcake, and we'll just use the pen tool. And if we want to, we can draw a little curve, so we can improve our drawing. One thing is, we don't want these drawings to look too much like vector. We want them to kind of look like maybe they're made out of cut out paper collage, or maybe they're painted. We want them to have a little bit more of a looser hand drawn look versus this really technical look like we did with our technical drawings and specialty illustration. We're going for a totally different look with Illustrator in this class. So I'm going over here and I'm editing some things. We're gonna change the colors later, but anyway, let me go back to outline mode here again, and we'll get my pen tool, and I'm gonna just make my candle here. There we go. Okay, we'll go back to preview mode so we can preview this candle, and we'll actually make this candle more blue. You know, maybe take the yellow out. There we go. Okay, and like I said, we can edit this afterwards. So let me go in here and let's make the. And I'm going to draw in with the pencil tool this flame. Okay, and we'll go back to preview mode. So I'm holding down the command key, clicking on the eye in this, and we'll pick a yellowish color. There we go. All right, so there's my cupcake. Okay, and now I'm going to go in here and make this pie, and then I'm going to talk to you about how to turn these into symbols. Okay, so I'm going to just let me see about you. I'll just use my pen tool for this. The last one I used, I've done this tutorial. This video tutorial too many times. This computer's been giving me problems. I'm deciding to do it without the Cintiq to see if I can make it work. So bear with me. Okay, so let me just draw around here. And it's too bad because the last tutorial I did, I got this color so good on this slice of pie, and now I'm having to make it over again. So anyway, let me go back to outline mode, hold down my command key, and I'm going to make this top meringue portion. Okay. Oops. There we go. All right, now let's go on out here because we're going to crop this. First, we'll change its color, make it lighter. Yeah, that looks okay for the moment. All right, so let me get this and then hold down my shift key, get my selection tool, and select that yellow portion I had drawn before and do Shift M. That'll bring up my shape builder tool. And I'm going over this stuff again so that in case you forgot. And then I'm holding down my Alt key. And as you can see, that becomes a minus sign. I'm just going to click and get rid of that, okay? Now let's go back to outline mode. I'm holding down the command key. And let's just draw the top portion of this pie. Oops. Let me get my... I'm going to try to do it with my pencil tool if it lets me. There we go. A little bit harder drawing a Wacom tablet versus a Cintiq. Oops. But it's good to know how to do both. All right, there we go. Go to preview mode. And let's make this lighter. There we go. Now it is just, I'm going to put this on a darker background, slightly darker background than white. So that's why I'm not concerned about how light it is right now. But we do want it to be lighter than the side here. And then let me go in here and we'll get the pen tool and we'll do this pie crust. And I'm just going to cut straight through here. And we'll send this behind everything in a moment once we get it done. Like I said, you want to try to make this feel a little bit more hand-drawn. Your elements. I call them elements, these little illustrations, these little icons. Okay, there we go. Now let's change that color to kind of a brownish, if we can get that. Yeah, okay. That's not bad. All right. And we'll send this to the back. So I'm doing Shift Command left bracket. Okay. So now I got a nice piece of lemon meringue pie. We'll zoom out just a little bit here. And what we're going to do is, in order to make a symbol, and I've already made a ton of symbols, because I've done this tutorial several times here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the shapes with this pie. I don't have to group them because I'm going to drag them in here. Okay. And this will create it into a symbol. And we want this to be, we can name it if we want to, but really I can see what the symbols look like. And then we'll go to graphic, okay, and we'll do the static. By the way, if you don't have your symbols palette open, go up under window and you'll scroll all the way down and you'll see symbols. You want to bring up your symbols palette, okay? Because that's what we're doing with this. We are dragging things in here. Now, you can drag most any vector object in here. You can even drag in pictures. Now, some things may not work. Like if you're doing a 3D revolved shape, it may not be able to go in here. There are some limitations as to what it will take. Okay, now it took that cupcake. So one of the reasons we're going to work with symbols is because we're going to be using symbols to place all of these elements, okay? And so I don't have to, like I'm going to be, let me turn this drawing off for a moment. And let me make a big rectangle. Let me zoom out here. We'll make another layer on top of this last one. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to draw out a rectangle to represent the background of our design, okay? And we'll make this color maybe a little off grayish green, kind of something like that. All right, so, and mind you, you don't have to use the same colors from the pattern you're doing the adaptation of, okay, or making an adaptive design of. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another layer, and then we're going to just turn off these layers here below. And so now I've got another layer, and I can see my template. I can see all these things, okay? And what we're doing is I'm going to drag out this cake with the slice taken out. And as you can see, it sort of takes up the same relative area of the crab, okay? And that's one of the reasons I kind of went with this whole dessert theme, is because I was looking at this and I was going to do a demonstration and do a tutorial for this, and I was thinking, well, what do I see taking up that shape? And I thought, I think maybe a big cake with a big piece taken out of it would do a good job of it. And as you can see, it takes up the same relative space. Okay, so I'm going to drag over my cupcake, my last cupcake I just made, and we're going to drag it over, okay? Now, we can rotate this a little bit, or we can rotate as a symbol later, but I'll just rotate it now, and we'll duplicate, because one of the things is these symbols are all linked to one, to the main symbol that comes out of the palette. So if you go and do something like this where I'm copying it, what I'm going to do is start dragging it, hold down the Alt key, and then copy it. Okay, that still is linked to this symbol in here. Now I'm going to lower the value, or lower the opacity of this template that has that pattern. I'm going to go down to maybe 30 here. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I just want to be able to see things, okay? I'm going to take these two and just drag them on over, hold down my Shift key, and copy them, okay? And now, let's see here. Let me zoom out just a little bit so I can see this better. Okay, so in place of the anchor, I have this wedge of lemon meringue pie. Now, it doesn't quite take up the entire space, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the symbol later, and I'll show you how editing a symbol will change all of these, okay? So we don't have to worry about changing one at a time. All right, I'm going to drag over, let's see here, I should have a donut. Yep, there we go. See, I have a donut that takes up the place of that life preserver flotation thing there, okay? And we got a few of those, and we could just also copy them over like this. Okay, and then in place of the starfish, I've got cookies. So I'm going to put in some cookies here. All right, and we'll just, whoops, don't want to, and then move that one there. And we'll drag this one down here. I'm copying here. I think I can take both of these. I've done this so many times that I can pull this on over. See that kind of, just hold down my alt, my option key there, my alt key, so it copies that. And then let's see here. We'll drag these both up here, holding down the alt key, so it copies that. Put one here. And one here, and I should have drug another one up, but we'll just do it like this, okay? So that takes the place of that. Now there's a little seashell here. It's very hard to see. I'll bring this, actually I'll just turn the template off on this for a moment. So you can see that seashell, okay? And let me just zoom out here. And we could leave that on like that, but it's a little hard to, well, you know what? We'll just keep it. And we'll just lock that layer. And I actually made a star-shaped cookie. I'm going to be on the right layer here. A star-shaped cookie, instead of putting them in place of the starfish, I'm putting it in place of this seashell, okay? So we're going to drag that one there, and then we're just going to make copies, okay? And we'll come up here. Actually, you know what? We'll just drag this one over here a little easier. Okay. Whatever's the easiest way to do it. They're all linked. Okay. So, pull this one up. Whoops, that didn't do it. So let me just drag this here. There we go. And then drag this one over here. Okay, good. Now, let me go, and we're going to turn on that rectangle layer. There we go. Okay. Now, let's talk about editing. One of the things, and it looks like I left something out here too. Let me see if I did leave something out. Yep, I did. I should have thrown in a cookie there. Okay, we'll put a cookie over here. Now let's see if this still looks... Yeah, that pretty much has everything. So here's the deal. First of all, first of all, we do not have to use the same color. I keep saying that, but I want to impress that. But one of the things we want to do is we want to make sure that there's enough value and contrast between those values. So right now this cupcake is blending into the background. And so I'm going to change the color of it, okay? I don't know why I put it over here, but anyway, I'm going to get my selection tool. What I did was, by the way, and because I didn't quite explain that, was I'm going to double click the symbol of that new cupcake I just made. And I'm going to select the paper portion. Now, that selection, by the way, let me see here, is yellow. I don't know if it's because of that back there, but it's very hard to see. I think we can change this color, but it doesn't change everything. There we go. So that makes it a little easier for you to see. Okay, now let's make this paper portion a little darker, maybe add a little blue to that. Okay, we'll make the cake portion a little darker too. Maybe make the frosting stand out a little bit more. Make the candle stand out. Okay, and now once we kind of alter it, we just exit this. Okay, so we exit symbol editing mode, just like that. And as you notice, see, it does it to all of them. That is why we're doing this. And this is a trick that I learned from Roxanne Hankey. She is a former student of the Art Institute and works at Carter. She's been working at Carter's Oshkosh B'gosh since she graduated. And so she came into my class and showed us all these techniques, and I picked them up so I can show you guys how to do it. And one of the things I'll do is I'll show you how they make patterns too, because we're going to make pattern swatches for our next project. But like this piece of pie here, I remember I told you I wanted to change the size. Well, we could do the same thing we did with the color, and that is, and it's so hard to see that. I don't know if this will help. No, we'll see. All right, that helps, but I still can't see the bounding box too much. But anyway, let's just make this, make this just a little larger here, like that. And then let's exit the editing mode. And if you notice, it takes up more space now, okay? This cake, you know what? In one version of this tutorial that I did, I changed the color of the cake and kept the frosting color. So let's edit the cake. And I'm going to change the cake portion into a lighter color, okay, and change it more into kind of a yellowish. Take the blue out. There we go. Okay, make that really, yeah, that looks more like cake. There we go. All right, and so this is how you would create your adaptive design. Now you can edit this. I mean, well, you can keep editing colors. You can do all that, but as you can see, some of my elements are sticking outside this rectangle. I'm just going to make another layer, and on this layer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some rectangles filled with white. So we'll fill this with white. And I'm going to edit this. I'm looking at the recording. I think it's still recording. I'm crossing my fingers this will work. Okay. And we're going to just make, so make a rectangle. It goes down there. And we'll pull it just up just a little bit. Not much. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to just copy it. And I'm just copying this rectangle that I'm making and kind of making a frame. And this works, okay? Now, this would be a good way for you to present your final design so we can see it and compare it, okay? If I want to combine all these white shapes and make just a real frame, we can use our Pathfinder tool here, our Pathfinder palette. And remember, I think I've talked about Pathfinders before, but up under Window, you'll see Pathfinder. You can bring it up. And the first little button here is called Unite. And see, that'll just actually make it into a frame. Okay. So anyway, that concludes our tutorial for Project 1.